I'm trying, but it's not working. You reach a point of can't do anymore. Ugh. So I had the perfect Mother's Day. Mark got me a Apple Watch. Isn't that
Oh,
cool?
nice.
I need lots of bells and whistles to remind me I'm supposed to do something.
Just 6 months after.
Okay, let me see. Looking for the countdown timer. How was your Mother's Day? Was it good?
You know what? We had the biggest nothing Mother's Day ever because the kids are gone, and the house it was just me and my wife, and then my mother-in-law, and they were planning on leaving for a vacation yesterday, and
Mhm.
so they're like, "Don't get us any flowers or do any of this stuff." So yeah, everything got pushed off. So it honestly was not much of a Mother's Day at all, and a lot of times they'll say that's what they want, but secretly they really do want to get some flowers and stuff. This time
Of
they really
course.
did not. So, and then it turns out that I was a little bit under the weather yesterday, and Pam's like, well, let's just put this back a little bit until you feel better. And so, not much of a Mother's Day, I guess is what I'm saying is the short answer.
Oh, I had the perfect day. So much fun.
You deserve that.
I went shopping. I got my workout in. I went to Costco. I got my nails done. I got a new watch.
Yay.
And then we went out to dinner and partied. Oh,
Where'd
good
you go
day.
to dinner?
Oh, we love Chang's, PF Chang's.
I do too.
I don't know why. I mean, it's a chain restaurant. It's not super fancy, but
Nope.
we like sitting at the bar.
I think, in fact,
I took my mom to Texas Roadhouse.
Texas
Oh, I
Roadhouse
like
is
that place
great.
too.
Yeah.
We go there quite a bit as well.
I love it.
And then I fixed my mom's fence.
Then you what? You fixed her fence? Well, that's
Fixed
a
my
nice
mom's
Mother's Day
fence.
thing.
Yeah. Well, it had partially blown down with that last big windstorm that we had, and
Yeah.
I knew she wasn't going to be able to do it, so
No.
went by Lowe's, picked up some stuff, and got it all put back together.
Well, that's great that you're handy. Is it in our family, it's not our skill set. I don't know any other tactful way to say it, but that's just how it is.
I was glad that it was only one section of the fence instead of the whole thing, but
Okay. I'm good, Barb. How about you?
Think I'm ready to party.
Let's count it down in three, two, one. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority and host of the program, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb is also a pilot, and Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have got to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, many people think that when they put their home on the market, it's definitely going to sell and at their price. And often they believe that having their home on the market assures them that they will get a contract on their next home. What are some of the mistakes that people make when they are move up buyers?
Okay, wait. That's number 4.
Oh my God, it is. Yes. I did it again. Did you see the look on her face on that one?
I'm sitting there going, where's he
What
going?
the
Are we
you
going to talk
usually
about?
don't work that far ahead, so
I
I didn't
know.
even check.
I had them all marked up, and I was just finishing marking up 4, so it was in.
Time to wrap it up, right?
I know, right? Do you want me to do the whole thing, or do you want to use the one you have already, the little intro, or do it all again?
Um,
I've got it
All right,
already.
then let's
Yeah.
just go to our part here then.
just
Three.
start what's in store for today.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1. We air your real estate voice every Saturday. If you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or go ahead and search for Barb. You'll find her on almost all of the podcast platforms like iHeartRadio and others. So, Barb, what's in store for today's show?
Well, Richard, we have a really cool new buy before you sell program that's almost no cost, essentially. And it allows people that need their equity out to buy their next home to actually be able to buy their next home first without bridge financing and without having to qualify for two payments. It's really exciting. So I'm really fired up about this one just because that seems to be the biggest problem for folks when they go out and try to make an offer contingent on their home selling. It just doubles the stress of an already stressful process. So it's a really cool way, inexpensive way to solve this problem. The number 2 segment is about houses not selling. So in the past week or two, the market has kind of stepped up to the plate a little bit more in some respects, but it's nothing like it was a couple of years ago. So we're going to talk about the reasons why a house is not selling, and it may not be what you think it is, and what you can do about it, of course. The third topic is about how to get the highest price for your home in Colorado without guessing, or how you avoid overpricing. I think most home sellers, of course, want the most money when they sell their home, but the way you get the most money is not by overpricing. It actually works just the opposite when you do that. And then the last topic we're going to talk about is what are the mistakes that home buyers make when they have a house to sell? How can you avoid them? And as always, I love talking about my hot new listings. Richard?
So, Barb, with more homes on the market, the concern of homes sitting on the market for months is out there. How does a home seller who wants to buy another home make that move in a low stress way by being able to buy their next home, avoid missing out on the perfect home, and sell their current home, and do all of that, Barb, stress free?
Well, there's a lot of moving parts to the plan of moving, selling your home, buying your next home, and making your next purchase contingent on your current home selling. There's so many things that can go wrong in that scenario. As an example, trying to time the move exactly. I was talking to a seller this morning about that very thing, because that's what she is doing. She didn't want to do one of the buy before you sell programs. And so she's the move has to be timed just right. Her client has to move for her house. So it's almost like she's in the middle of a 3-way transaction, and she only has one day to move her household from point A to point B. That's a lot of stress. It's not fun to do it that way. And that's really the biggest dilemma for most people with a house to sell when they want to buy another home. First of all, they have to worry about their home selling first. Or maybe they have to go and stay in temporary housing. That's no fun either, because it causes them to have to move twice. I've actually seen people do that, where they sell their house, they go stay in an apartment, and they wait for their new home to be finished. And there are quite a few home sellers that actually will not allow a home sale contingency. So that kind of forces that home buyer to have to move twice if that's absolutely the home that they have to have. So a lot of typically the traditional solution that we hear from most agents is, oh, don't worry, just make an offer contingent on your home selling. I'm sure the seller will accept it. Oh, and it's okay to make a lowball offer while you're doing that, and go ahead and ask the seller, hey, Richard, will you reserve your house for me and wait for me to sell my home that by the way, is not on the market. And while we're at it, will you give me a $20,000 discount on the price?
That's not going to happen. I mean, I'm thinking any one of those things would probably be a deal breaker, but you put them all together and it's a nuclear deal breaker.
Well, I get offers like that probably every other week on my listings. And I was pretty frank with one agent, because she basically proposed that scenario. And I said, look, I'm glad your buyers like the house, but you don't have a buyer yet. They're not in a position to buy. I even offered her the program that we're about to talk about today, the buy before you sell program. And it just terrified her for some reason. No, no, we want to do traditional. We don't want anything out of the box that can solve my client's problem. And I'm like, okay, trying to help you, but anyway, have a nice day. And then you've got this other problem. Let's say a seller does accept a contingent offer, and then their buyer bails out, because there's a whole bunch of different ways a buyer can bail out of a contract. I think I counted at least 8 of them in the state of Colorado. I don't like the inspection. I don't like the paint color. I don't like my loan. I don't like the insurance. I'm not getting loan approval. I don't like the appraisal. There's all these different reasons. I don't like title. Allows them to tie up your home for weeks on end and then bail out for no apparent reason. So it's really frustrating to have to worry about that if you're also going to move to another home. It just adds a lot of complexity, and it's very difficult to get all that timed just right. And in general, in a competitive market, the sellers really will reject a sale contingency. And I still feel like all along the Front Range is a fairly strong, fairly resilient market. And home sellers, when they look at an offer, they want certainty. I sit down with home sellers every week and I pose this question: how do you feel about reserving your house for a buyer that has a house to sell? And usually the instant answer is no. They're not going to take it. And that's why so many offers get rejected. And then, even if they do get an offer, the MLS rules actually really mess them up. So if a seller accepted an offer contingent on their home selling, and the seller says, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, we'll accept your contingency, but if we get another offer with a buyer that does not have a house to sell and you cannot remove your contingency, I'm going to boot you out of the contract and take buyer number 2. That's called a right of refusal. So our MLS requires that you change the status and you tell the world that the seller has accepted a offer contingent on someone's home selling, which is not sold yet. In other words, they got a maybe buyer. But what it ends up showing up like on all the websites where most of the buyers are looking, like Zillow, Realtor.com, and Homes.com, it shows up online if we follow the MLS rules as if it's not available. Even agents, some agents I've spoken to, I've asked my own agents that I trained, hey, look at this listing. Let's say you have a buyer that doesn't have a house to sell. Do you think this home is available? And the answer is no. And I'm like, no, yes, it is. You can kick out buyer number 1 if they haven't sold their house yet. So it just makes it really confusing. It actually works against the home seller. These are some of the rules that I have to kind of dance around to help my clients. So most people think they only have 2 options: either sell first, move twice, which is very painful, or buy first and risk owning 2 homes, which is a little bit scary. So there is a third option. We're excited about this new modern solution that basically allows you to go buy your next home first, then put your home on the market, and you only have to move once. And you sell your current home after you've secured your new home. We actually have 3 or 4 different investors that will offer this program, but the most recent one that I've added to my offer portfolio is very inexpensive. It's very easy, and it's not too difficult to qualify. So if you are thinking of making a move and you're interested in helping you make that transition from one house to another, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. I am Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And we're talking about how do you buy your next home without selling your current home and without bridge financing? And next up, we're going to talk about the details of that program and exactly how you do that. Richard?
We're talking with Barb Schlinker about exactly how you make that transition from selling one home, buying the next one, do it stress free. Barb is the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can reach her at 719 301 3900. So, Barb, how do home sellers buy their next home before actually selling their current home and do all of that without breaking the bank?
Well, Richard, the traditional way, just to review, is put your house on the market, get it under contract, best case scenario, and then you're in a better position to make an offer contingent on your buyer coming through, which is also a lot of uncertainty. What if the buyer bails out for whatever random reason? You're kind of still in that hope it works out scenario, yet you're moving forward towards moving out and securing your next home. So it's very, very challenging to do it that way. It's also very stressful on something that's already very stressful. So the way our buy before you sell program works is basically we have some really, really great high net worth lenders that will come in and purchase your next home for you for cash. So not only does it put you in a better negotiating position that they're going out and buying the home that you want for cash, but then after they buy that home, then you put your house on the market and you sell it and move at your pace. Nothing is better than that because it just takes away that big stress of, oh my God, timing the market. What if my deal falls out? It's all done for you. You just got to get your home sold. And then when that happens, they do the financing for your next purchase. It allows you to make stronger offers, remove your sale contingency, remove your loan conditions, remove your loan contingency, which actually makes you the most attractive buyer, and win the home that you want. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker. This is Your Real Estate Voice. Barb is with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and you can reach her at 719 301 3900. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing the real reason your house didn't sell, and it's not what you think. Barb explains that.
I kind of lost track of time because we stopped and started, but
That was my mistake for starting out.
I don't know where we are, DJ. I think we're okay.
He says we're fine.
We're good.
Okay. What do you make of all the UFO stuff, Barb?
Oh, I haven't really been tracking it very much.
I think that's most people, quite honestly. There's so much there. And so I ask you, I mean, I ask virtually everyone I work with or talk to or whatever, and most people are not tracking it very much. I think there's supposed to be some new video and photos coming out this week, is my understanding, and I think those will get everybody's attention.
Yeah, my dad saw one when he was flying years ago.
Really? See,
Yeah.
and was he a private pilot, military pilot?
No, he was an Air Force pilot.
Right.
It was somewhere around Washington, D.C. So
You
he
know,
reported it.
I'll tell you, it's pretty amazing because whoever, the military, the government, the deep state, whatever, have gotten away with just lying to the American public about this thing
Yeah.
for decades. And yet I hear from people. I had a guy who was a commercial pilot for United texted in this morning, and he's like, I saw them twice, and there was no other explanation. So there's something out there.
There must be something like that going on somewhere.
All right, I'm ready to go. David's good. Barb, you
We're
good to go?
ready.
Count us down. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, host of the program and the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, as the selling season starts heating up, you'd think that there are still quite a few home sellers who have homes that did not sell. What are the reasons, Barb, that they did not sell? And more importantly, what can they do about it?
Well, Richard, I have to say, I don't believe you can blame the market. Homes sell in every market. I was in business during the mortgage meltdown. I was in business during the dot-com boom and bust. I was in business when the market was flying high, watching the clouds go by. And what we've seen since then is just sort of this really slow trickle down in prices. At the same time, the buyers are super picky. Okay, they want it all. They want HGTV and they want a really good price. Now, there are some buyers that are okay with a home that needs work if it's priced right, because they're very well educated these days. They understand they can go out and get a renovation loan right now and actually finance up to $75,000 into their loan and put their own touches on the home. So it allows them to get into a home at a lower price and be able to remodel, update as they need. So if a house is not selling, it's one of four issues, but I have to say the top one that overrides everything else is pricing. It could be home sale preparation. It could be the way it's marketed. I had one sale 2 years ago where the agent that they originally hired used his smartphone to take pictures of the home, and they were kind of dark and unimpressive. The home was gorgeous. The home sellers even spent the money to bring in professional furniture and put it in this home and make it show beautifully, but nobody saw that because the pictures were so bad. Your first showing is online. If you don't get that right, either with pricing, preparation, or promotion, and picking the right agent is tied to promotion, then it could mean that the buyers basically vote with their feet and decide not to go see your home. Now, not every home is presented remodeled, and that's okay, because there are quite a few buyers. I've got one under contract right now that the plumbing is broken, all the drywall in the basement's pretty much blown out, but the upper level is kind of updated. It probably needs fresh carpet, and I got a bidding war on that. Why? Because it's priced right. They knew the condition. It doesn't matter. So when you price it right, that is a strategy by itself. And when that happens, the buyers see the value and what it could be, and they will move forward with a deal like that. Now, just looking at kind of the general market stats and what's going on right now, pending sales are actually up quite a bit. We've seen a big surge, especially in El Paso County in the last 90 days. So that's good. That's a leading indicator. And it was a little bit sluggish when I checked this a few weeks ago. However, Douglas, Teller, and Pueblo counties, their pending sales are somewhat flat. The other thing that we're seeing is the number of available homes has kind of slowed down a little bit. In other words, it's now very similar to what it was for the same time a year ago. So that tells me, all right, our inventory is not quite surging, and the inventory and the pending sales are picking up. The other thing that's happening is the average days on market are dropping in general. Now, that's a good thing. If the days on market have dropped compared to what we saw in the fall or last year, I think last year we reached a point over the winter where our average days on market from the time you go on the market to the time you accept a contract was over 104 days. Now it's down to about 89, 90 days, which is kind of a normalized market. So what does that mean to a home seller? It means from the time you put your house on the market, it might take 3 months to get an offer. That's a long time. I don't know about you, Richard, but having a lot of home sellers really hate having strangers come through their house and criticize their house and, whine about, I don't like this and I don't like that. What do you think?
I think it's stressful and a little bit annoying, even if it's just for a day or two. But when we're talking about weeks or months, that's a lot of stress for a homeowner.
Yeah, 3 months, and you're like, "Why is my house not sold?" And I can say just in general, overall, people are used to right now. Didn't you notice that? Like, it just seems like everybody wants instant solution, instant satisfaction.
Instant gratification more so now than ever before. And the person who sits in with you on the program is guilty of that as well, Barb. I hate to admit. Instant gratification. Yep.
Yeah. The interest rates are actually up again. So now we're seeing almost 6.5 for a 30-year fixed conventional and almost 6 for the government loans, VA and FHA. So what I'm seeing quite a bit is many of the buyers, if they think that there is no competition, are coming in and they're asking the seller to help pay their loan closing costs so they can buy down that interest rate and make it more affordable. Now, if you have it priced right, you could go up in price to cover their cash need to cover their closing cost. And we do that for our clients all the time. New home sales are dropping a bit. And really to sell right now, price is number one, without a doubt, followed by if you are going to go a full market strategy, you have to be the best looking home in your neighborhood and it has to be presented right. You wouldn't believe some of the weird things that people assume about properties. Like if you don't have pictures, sometimes they don't trust it unless it's way underpriced. So all these factors come into play, but I will say absolutely pricing is number one. And I hate to say this, but unfortunately, a lot of real estate agents just don't have enough at bats. I'll use a baseball term in order to really figure out what's the right price for the home. What I mean by that is if you look at Zillow statistics, Zillow says 72% of all real estate agents last year sold 0 homes. That's none, nada. And then a huge majority, more like 80% of them might sell 2 or 3. So even if they're just selling 2 or 3, that kind of basically means that they don't have their finger on the pulse on how to price a home properly. And when you have the prices kind of creeping down like they're doing right now, it's hard to make the guess. So that's why we're seeing a whole lot of home sellers actually reducing their price after they go on the market. And that's not the best scenario to get the most money. Unfortunately, 87% of all real estate agents get out of the business every 5 years. A lot of that has to do with the industry being weak at teaching them how to market. And there's no excuse for that, but that's how it is. And what they had seen in the last 5 years was a rising market, and most of them aren't trained on what to do with the market that's contracting a little bit. So that's why it's so important to pick the right team and get everything right and make sure it's promoted right. And a corporate seller that I worked for is called the asset manager, who sells foreclosed homes. And I hate to say this, but foreclosures are on the rise, especially in markets where they have a lot of military buyers, because they came in, they bought houses in 2021, 2022, even through 2023, paid full price, no money down. Now they're trying to sell it a couple years later, and the values did not improve unless they got a really good deal, which is less likely at that time. So they're upside down, yet they're being transferred. They have to move. So they're either stuck with doing a short sale or a foreclosure or renting it out. And all of those have their own set of problems to it. So it's really important when you go on the market that you attract the buyers, and you'll be able to tell immediately when you go on the market. The market is going to speak back instantly. If you get a lot of people that want to see the house within the first week, that's a great sign. It means it's going to go. But unfortunately, most agents really don't sell very many homes. And so what happens sometimes is those agents that might be working with buyers that go to houses end up trying to position themselves as experts and inadvertently talk them out of a house that they may want. They'll say really dumb things like, it's not worth that much. you know, and or I had one just last weekend. We had a huge crowd at an open house at our grand opening open house. Almost everybody loved this home. In fact, that house was being stocked from the moment we put it on the market. There, people were coming by ahead of the open house, trying to get in with the sellers. And one agent came by at the open house, very lovely lady. She could see the demand. Her buyer loved the house. They wanted to make an offer. We ended up right after the open house getting two other offers that wanted to answer right away. And she slow rolled her offer till late at night. And by then, sorry, it's under contract. If your buyer wants, and I'll just say this is why agents do this. Originally the plan was, okay, we're gonna wait and look at offers in a few days, but you can't guarantee that, right? Sometimes sellers change their mind and they're like, no, maybe I feel better if we just had it done and I could move on to my next thing. So some agents think it's a strategy if their buyer wants the house to hold on to the offer, to not send it to the listing agent until the very last minute. Or a lot of times I'll get those offers. If I say the deadline is Monday at 5, I'll get the offer Monday at 5:30 or 6. So I'm in front of the seller trying to present the offer, and I'm scrambling to gather this other one to have them consider it all at once. And it's not a good idea if the seller changes their mind about the timeline. If your buyer wants a house, get them the house. That's your job. It's crazy. Anyway, my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about why a house is not selling. And next up, we're going to cover some tips on how you can make it sell really quickly. Richard?
So, Barb, we're discussing the why a house may not be selling. There's a lot to that. And if people are planning to move later this year, you want one of Barb's free reports. We'll talk about that as well. And you need to prepare to sell for the most money. That's what Barb does for you. So, Barb, what are some other things that home sellers ought to be doing to sell fast and, as always, get the most money?
Well, first of all, you want to get a plan, right? Get a plan on when you're going on the market, get a plan on how you're going to market it, empty, not empty, that sort of thing. And if you want full market value, that's fine. It's okay to do that, but the buyers are expecting everything to be perfect. And the sellers that follow our guidance and do that right, they win every time. They usually get more than asking price. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a full-on remodel. You don't have to go out and put quartz on the counters and make it just like a model home. It's not necessary. Sometimes it's just make the home priced right and that the buyers could move in, drop their stuff, and get on with their lives without having to spend money or spend cash instantly. Now, if you're going for the as-is strategy, then it has to be priced what I call below market value, very, very realistically, in order to get interest on the home. So whenever a home seller decides to price it realistically, you get huge crowds at the grand opening, you get offers out of the gate, and you get her done really quickly. But other people choose to, reach for the skies. And what happens when you slowly walk the price down, over time, you're going to net less money. But once you get to that right price, you might even get multiple offers, which has happened multiple times with me. So you want to make sure you make a decision about pricing it and how you're going to position the home. And then if it doesn't work, if you're on the market and it's not working, the market's going to speak back. If you're not getting very many showings, something's really wrong. If you're getting a few showings, no offers, you're still off. If you're getting offers, you're right there, stay there. It's just a matter of time before you get the right offer. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, simply call Barb at 719 301 3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how to get the highest price for your Colorado home without guessing or overpricing.
I went long on that one.
Did she? Didn't feel like it. Oh, he's smiling, I guess. I guess you did, Barb. You know, I used to run a clock over here, and then let me run to the men's room. I quit doing that 'cause
DJ, did you hear my watch ringing? I didn't know it made a noise. It's supposed to vibrate.
Yeah, I heard it, but I don't think it's distracting or anything.
Okay, because I got my phone muted. I don't know how to mute this thing. Sorry.
It's all in the settings.
All right, I'm going to go out and get my lemon water. I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Hear me loud and clear. Oh, you got your best.
I keep trying. These fit outside ears.
Oh, do they? Yeah.
They just go in your bone with your cheek over here,
Oh,
so you can still hear normal.
oh, you can. That's nice.
Just don't bust your ears.
If I put mine in there, oh my God, it's pretty noise canceling for the most part. And if I start talking, turns the volume of whatever I'm watching way down. You know, strange. Anyway, go get some water. I'll be right back. I'm back.
okay.
I'm ready when you guys are.
Oh, good deal. I'm ready to go here too. Let's count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and it educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program and the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, I would think most home sellers want the most money, of course, when they sell their home, but it's a guessing game to figure out what a buyer will pay for a home. So,
Yeah.
how do home sellers get the highest price when they're selling their home and know that it's actually going to sell?
Well, Richard, I think home sellers, and most of them want the most money. Sometimes I ask that question when we start, and sometimes the answer is different than I think. Some people will say, well, I'm not in a hurry, but of course I want the most money. Some will say, I need to sell fast, right? And that's a different conversation. Some will say, I want the best neighbor. So I want somebody good in this house for my neighbors, which is kind of a cute answer. But most home sellers really don't like leaving money on the table. Of course not. They would rather get the most money. But the biggest myth is if you want more money, you ask a higher price. And occasionally that works, but I'd say most of the time it does not, because if you price a home too high, you'll actually reduce the number of buyers who even are interested in seeing your home. You'll get fewer showings, and then your home sits on the market. And then something weird happens. All of a sudden, after 30, 45, even 60 days, buyers are ready to go in for the kill if they have any interest. They're like, oh, it's been on the market a long time. There must be something wrong with it. Therefore, I'm going to make an even lower offer. So, and they wonder what's wrong with it. And unfortunately, it's hard to find like the history of, okay, it accepted a contract, then it blew up and that kind of stuff. Sometimes that will take it and leave it on the market for a long time, and it's hard to tell why. But in general, and these are studies done by the National Association of Realtors. I'm not talking from the word of Barb, but if you overprice a home, then the market's going to tell you right away in the first 2 weeks. If we didn't get that right, you're going to have less interest on showings, right? And then if you slowly walk the price down, according to the National Association, the studies have indicated that you'll actually net less money. And here's what happens. During the first 2 weeks, that's when you get most of the buyer interest of your home, because the buyers are looking for new stuff. If they haven't found what they're looking for, anytime something new goes on the market, they're like, oh, look at that one. Let's go see that one. And that's really when the demand is the highest. Now, if you price a home too high, what happens is it kind of triggers buyer resistance. And the way they resist is they just don't come see the house. It causes buyers to kind of wait and see, oh, I'll see. Sometimes they look for trends to see if you systematically lower the price. So like, oh, I'll wait for it to come down on my price range. It leads to more price reductions. And in the end, you net less money. So you really don't want to do that. And it's a mistake to actually price a home for negotiating room, right? Because yeah, they're going to negotiate, but they may not even give you an opportunity to negotiate if you price it too high. And you really don't want to lose time in this market, because if you lose time, if it sits on the market a long time, waiting for the market to catch up to you, which it may not, you're going to lose momentum. And overpricing really is a problem. So if you're only going to, your target is just to get one buyer, but you're in the best position if you market to get multiple buyers interested in the home. That is the way you drive the price up. And sometimes marketing either at market value or slightly below is a way to actually attract more buyers. It creates urgency for the buyers. It leads to multiple offers, which is the best situation for a home seller to be in, because they are in the driver's seat. They can pick the best buyer. And then you can command asking price, sometimes over asking price. So the result of pricing it right is, if you're getting, first of all, you're going to get the most eyes, the most buyers looking at it in the first 2 weeks that it's on the market. It creates urgency and momentum. it attracts serious qualified buyers that can buy, and it increases your chance of having multiple offers. And it starts with the first impression. So the first impression is no longer walking in the door, it's how it is presented online. What is the price? And so you want the home to be clean and bright and move-in ready and not need work unless it's underpriced. And then you can get by with some of those deferred maintenance issues. And the way marketing creates demand is presenting the home in the best light, meaning high quality photos. I talk to buyers and sellers all the time about because they're usually shopping in another market, and I'll ask them, have you seen any homes out there that had bad pictures? And without fail, they'll say, yes, I saw a whole bunch of them. I saw one where the bed wasn't made and there's dirty laundry on top of the bed, or the dishes aren't done. It's shocking that people don't care enough to make a house look good online. It's like, don't use that picture if it's not attractive enough. Because what it has this subliminal message that it gives to the buyer, that the home seller doesn't care enough to pick up for their home pictures and to get it on the market. And could be the agent, sometimes could be that. So really what I see the biggest mistake that a home seller makes is, number one, pricing. Or sometimes they might over improve some things that may not necessarily command money. Like some of the typical culprits are like the tankless water heater, which sounds really cool. And maybe over time it would be worth it. I honestly don't know a whole lot about them, but a buyer is not going to pay more for it. Same thing with the solar system in this market. Now that could be different if you live in the desert, but in this market, a solar system is kind of, the buyers are kind of like, that's nice, but that's not going to make them pay more money for it. So you really want to hire an agent that doesn't just stick a home in the MLS and just kind of go away and hope somebody else brings a buyer. We call those post and hope agents. And making any of these mistakes really could cost you a lot of money. And at the end of the day, it's not marketing. Price overcomes all of these issues if it's priced realistically. So if you are thinking of making a move, this is something that we do every week, multiple times a week. We sit down with home sellers, give them a really good idea what the market's doing right now, what their home will sell for in this market. We take a look at sales and competition and give them a pricing strategy to maximize their home sale price. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show. If you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. And we're talking right now about how do you get the highest price when you're selling. And next up, what we're going to cover is a really good marketing strategy that pretty much wins every time. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She should be your voice when it comes to real estate. You can reach her at 719-301-3900. And we're talking, Barb, about how sellers can trade up to a new home. What are some other things that a seller can do if they need to sell a house before they buy their very next one?
Well, in general, we're talking about sort of like some strategies where if you've got this house to sell, you want the most money, but you also need to buy your next home. We have some really, really good 3 or 4 different buy your next home first programs that allow you to move at your own pace and really kind of position your home to look good. Like I just have one client that what they did was they had a plan and they executed. So basically they put stuff in storage of the things that they wanted to take with them, but really didn't look good in the home. So when they finally presented the home to the market, it's just gorgeous. It looked like a model home, but a lot of their stuff that they normally live with had already been taken out. And so having these plans up front that you can just take it step by step and get everything ready to go. First of all, it helps you get ahead of the move. And second of all, your home is going to look very, how should I say, most sellers say it looks not lived in the way we suggest they put it on the market, but that's what we want. We want the buyer to visualize themselves in the home. But at the end of the day, it's all about making sure you get what I call the 4 P's right. And the biggest P by far is pricing, followed by preparing the home for sale, followed by picking the right agent and making sure it's presented properly. You don't have to show every picture. I'll give you an example. I have one listing that sold very quickly, and the faux painting, are you familiar with that, Richard? That was a big trend in the early 2000s.
It
You know,
was, including sometimes the painting making it look like there was a crack in the wall or something like
yes.
that.
Yeah, I had a listing like that the crack was faux painted. And the feedback we got from the showings was, oh, does this home have structural problems? I'm like, no, that's paint. So I had to Photoshop it out. And anyway, but faux paint is kind of a trend that came and went, just like the grays and just like the white kitchens are finally going away, but builders are still building them. But at the end of the day, when I saw this picture of this room that was faux painted, it just was so vibrant and bright on photos, it wasn't attractive. So I had my virtual assistant tone it down to make it look tolerable. The other option was just to not use the photo. The purpose of photos is to get them in the door. You don't have to show them every nook and cranny in the house. Marketing is to attract the buyers, to get them in there to love the home and then make an offer. So you always want a plan and a backup plan. And one of the things that we help our home sellers do is get the highest price by picking the right strategy. Our backup plan actually is one of our probably 70 cash buyers in our system that will allow the home seller to be in a position to have option B if the market is not getting them what they want. And we actually guarantee the sale of homes. We guarantee price. We guarantee 100% of value, or we'll pay you the difference with a guarantee of multiple cash offers on your home at any time. All you have to do is give us a call at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, you and your team are the only company that I would ever recommend to people out there who are thinking of selling their homes and downsizing to a smaller home. How do they get more information from you, Barb?
Well, probably the best way to get me on the phone is go to barbhasthebuyers.com, and pretty much the call to action on any page is to book a quick call with Barb. That'll show up on my calendar. I will adhere to that, and we will have a conversation and figure out what your plans are and how we can help you, and then take it to the next step. So barbhasthebuyers.com is probably the best resource to get me on the phone, or you could just call me 719-301-3900. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Again, give her a call at 719-301-3900, or it's easy to remember, barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be discussing the biggest mistakes buyers make when they have a house to sell, and we'll talk about how to avoid those, plus Barb's hot new listings. Don't miss that. All right. Man, we're picking them up and laying them down, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on one second.
Okay. Yeah, that's fun. Hey, DJ, just I have a question about the music. I was listening to like maybe 5 or 10 minutes of the show last weekend.
Okay.
The it's a little bit loud when I'm still talking, like it almost drowns me out.
Okay, I can
Is
get
it,
that balanced out better.
can you, because just, I don't know if you just listen, I don't remember what segment I was listening to last week, but I was still yammering away and the music was playing for a while as I started a new segment and I'm not loud enough to overcome it. So,
No, I can definitely balance that out better.
okay,
I'm sorry.
sorry. I don't mean to be critical, but
No,
you know,
I
a lot of my
I
clients are older.
don't know your perspective, so
Yeah, a lot of my clients, hearing is a challenge, you know what I'm saying? Especially if there's two
well,
things going on at
especially on this
once.
station. So
Yeah, that's true. But I'm just saying if I've noticed that's why this audio quality is really important here. Because I've had people give me feedback that I sounded echoey or something. And um, I think folks that have hearing issues struggle with that. So the music kind of did the same thing, or I was like really straining to hear what I was saying. Yeah. But
and that's no problem. I'll definitely be
yeah,
on the
I think
lookout.
I'm guessing it's a volume thing, right? Is that what it is? Or
Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
Um,
Pleasant.
which is, I guess what I would say about that is that's why I have him to rely on, because trust me, if all of a sudden he wasn't here today and he's like, Richard, you need to do the last segment without me. You know how to do this. I'm like, no, I would screw it up. They wouldn't even hear part of you. They would just be listening to whatever the music was. And they're like, is somebody talking in the background?
Yeah.
And the other thing, and this, I have to say this because he won't say this. He's too polite.
Mhm.
This studio in particular, his studio is much better, I believe. This studio in particular, they remodeled it about 2 years ago. All new equipment, should have been pristine and everything is great. And there's still 3 or 4 little ghosts in the machine that are here for this show. And then they have no problem for 3 or 4 days. And then all of a sudden it's back. I
I was
they
having a problem like that with my computer this morning with a Word document. It would just like go into saving mode and I couldn't do anything with it. I'm like, that's so weird. It's like a gremlin in this document.
and and then we have this thing. I don't mean to get us off track. I'll be just real brief. We have this thing where sometimes a person is put on hold and we'll go to a commercial and they're on hold, and now I know better than to say anything because they can hear what we're saying even though they're on hold and they're off the
Oh,
air. And fortunately, I don't talk bad about my guest or anything, so we've never been burned on that where somebody's like, Richard, I can't believe you said this about me. But needless to say, it's 2026. We shouldn't have a problem like that.
right. So they could hear you and DJ talking and
Yeah. And actually, now what I do, because I assume that they can, I'm just like, you know what? This is probably one of the best legislators that we have up there in Denver. I'm glad we get another segment. So I blow a little bit of smoke because, is that bad?
no,
Probably. All right. I got a final
that's
one
your
here.
job, isn't it?
It is. All right. Count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, host of the program. And this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, many people think that when they put their home on the market, it's definitely going to sell and at their price.
Mhm.
Often they believe that they're having their home on the market assures them that they're going to get a contract on their next home as well. What are some of the mistakes that people make when they're doing that move up buying situation?
Well, Richard, I think, it's just moving all by itself is a big project. And most of the folks that I meet with, um, they have a plan where they're going. Some folks haven't picked out their destination. And usually if they haven't, they're not ready to actually go on the market because they're afraid of being rendered homeless. So if you need to you want to make a move house to house, you're better off being really prepared and don't worry about timing the market because I don't think it really matters. But basically, a move up buyer or move down is somebody that's they need to sell a home before they make their next move. And it's quite a dilemma to go, okay, I got to sell my home. That way I can take my equity out and put it down on my next home. And if all the stars align, the timing is just right, but there's a lot of issues. Like most of the buyers, when they make an offer on your home, they want possession on the closing day. So that means they're expecting you to get out of your house before closing when you don't even know the deal is firm, and then wait for the money to show up, and then you take the money and go buy another house. And that creates quite a dilemma. So I find a lot of my negotiating time is spent negotiating the right possession dates just to make it reasonable. And then the state requires that we do a post-closing occupancy document, which is kind of like a really weak lease that says, okay, you keep the utilities on in your name until you get out, and there might be a deposit and there might be rent. It's very simple, but it's kind of another hurdle to get through in the move. Only one time in my career have I had it where the person selling the home wasn't getting out. It's pretty unusual. At least it has been in my world. And it was kind of interesting because that particular buyer was a sheriff. The sheriff's like, how do I get this guy out of my house? So, and there's a provision in the contract for it, but technically you have to take him to court and sue them to get out. And then there could be a fine for multiple, like a couple $100 a day if that happens. But it's not common. It's not a common issue that people have to worry about. Mostly what they have to worry about is timing the market. So what I see a majority of people do is once they have a contract, once they pretty much get past the inspection, or sometimes before that, they're already packing, they're planning their move, they pick their destination, they're trying to time the market just right, and it can be a problem. So if you haven't found your destination, maybe selling too early might mean that you have to move twice. Or if you have found your destination and then you make an offer contingent on your home selling and your home doesn't sell, you could lose your dream house. Nobody wants that either. So we've got plenty of solutions to help you avoid that. And one of them is our buy before you sell program. A lot of people don't like to have to worry about having to carry two mortgages. So say they buy their next home first, so they're paying for their old home and their new home, and they're having to make payments on both homes. That creates financial stress. But we have a really good buy before you sell programs that kind of ease that pain and allow you to time this just right without it being too stressful on you. And the way they work is basically the lender goes in and buys your new home for you for cash. And you will be accruing rent from the point that they actually buy your home, but you don't have to pay rent right away. So it gives you some time to make that transition. But at the end of the day, you want to have a plan. You don't want to roll the dice on moving. And that's where I see a lot of people make a mistake when they're making that transition. Because if they just say, okay, I'm going to put my house on the market, I'll wait till it goes under contract, and then I'll go make an offer contingent on my current home selling. A lot of home sellers are not really comfortable with that offer because not only do they have to worry about you as a buyer, but they have to worry about your buyer's buyer, right? So that creates a problem. And it makes your offer weaker. It kind of takes away your ability to negotiate. Like it just helped a wonderful family buy their new home first, and it was great for them, but they financially can carry both of them. Not everybody can do that. So what happens if you try to do a contingent offer is many times your offers get rejected, and then you lose out to other buyers that either don't have a house to sell or maybe they're cash buyers. And so that's a massive mistake. And you have to just sort of put yourself in the seller's shoes in that scenario. You want to buy this house, you want to make an offer contingent on your home selling, and the seller's like, okay, I'm glad you like my home, but how do I know this is going to go through? And you're asking me to move before that and hope everything works out right. So a lot of times home sellers are not very interested in all that uncertainty. Another financial misstep could be exactly how you manage the finance from one property to another. As an example, let's say you take a home equity line of credit. Okay, a lot of these banks will give pretty good home equity line of credit. I wouldn't say the interest rates are low, but it's definitely the easy button. You go online, boom, you're approved in a few seconds, and you can just go sign a few pieces of paper, and you could have this line of credit and use it as your down payment on your next home. The problem is you got to qualify for your current payment, you got to qualify for the home equity line, and you got to qualify for the financing on the new home if it needs to be financed. All three of those can add a lot of stress to the situation. It's also hard to figure out how much equity they'll actually give you. Most of them only give you maybe 70-75% of what it's worth minus what you owe. So maybe you'll get a down payment out of it, maybe not. Our buy before you sell programs actually only require that you have 20% equity in your home and a credit score above 620. So if you are thinking of making a move and you want us to help you with that transition, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about how to make that move from one home to another. And next up, we're going to cover some more of those mistakes. And as always, I love talking about my hot new listings. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, host of the program, and she should be your real estate voice. You can reach her at 719-301-3900. And we're talking with Barb about mistakes that home sellers make when they're moving up to their next home. So, Barb, what are some other things that a seller can do to avoid making those costly mistakes?
Well, I'd say number one, make sure you have a budget in mind and know exactly what you're shopping for. Understand your equity position, and really you can't rely on those Zillow's estimates because they're based on, this is according to AI. It's not just Barb saying this. AI said the Zillow's estimate is based on other available homes for sale, meaning other homes that have not sold yet. So that's really not their market value if they haven't sold yet. So you want a clear, unambiguous plan on making that transition from one to another. Another thing is just trying to time the market. It can be very, very stressful to do that. Selling too early, selling too late. It puts you in a weaker negotiating position, and there could be financial surprises. So give yourself plenty of time, plan ahead, make it work for you. There's no rush to do this, but you definitely want to have a destination and a financial plan in mind. And we have some really great buy before you sell programs that really make it the easy button of moving to your next house. So give us a call if you are thinking of making a move at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, your favorite, my favorite portion of the program, hot new listings. What do you have this week?
Well, Richard, I have a really great buy, a home that you could put the finishing touches on and walk into some wonderful equity on Paddington Drive in the Glen Eagle area. Beautiful Northeast home, 3515 Cortina Drive. Excuse me. Priced in the low fives, it will be featured open this weekend. A gorgeous condo, actually, ranch style. Perfect for the downsizer that doesn't really want to go into a senior care facility, and far less expensive. Gorgeous 2-bedroom, 1 bath with garage, priced at $199, will be featured this weekend. Another fabulous home on Old Farm Circle West, priced at $424,999. This home has 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, fresh carpet, fresh paint, beautiful yard, easy care, in great condition. We also have a fabulous townhome featured this weekend in Fountain, 8141 Elk River View, priced at $309,999. Really large townhome, backs to open space, 3 bedroom, 3 bath, 2 car, lovely. Another fabulous home in Manitou in Crystal Park. Have you ever been up there, Richard? It's back behind Manitou.
Oh my gosh, it is beautiful. That is a great location. That's a great looking home.
Oh, it's gorgeous. And it's a big ranch with a walkout basement, nothing but sweeping views from every room on Sugarloaf Road, priced at $849,999. Another one in Crystal Park. This home actually has a VA assumable loan, priced just under $1 million. Gorgeous, almost new home with an attached 2-car and a detached RV garage. Very modern, very pretty, priced in a good price. Another fabulous home on 6550 Reno Road, South Pueblo, on 62 acres. And this home is perfect for the multi-generational family. It has 2 living spaces on the main level, 4-car garage, plus a huge walkout basement, lots of space, lots of quiet, priced at $599. Another gorgeous patio home, 4268 Quartzsite Place in the east part of town, priced at $449,999. Beautiful home, over 2,900 square feet, in perfect condition. Also a gorgeous ranch in Peyton, main level living. This home has a lot of smart features, smart technology to it, where you could basically care for this home and not be there certain times of the year. 10890 Cascading Spring Circle, a beautiful home on 420 Autumn Heights Drive, Unit A. This lovely home is actually, for me, I view it as the perfect rental property, priced at $264,999 in the Broadmoor, great location. And it's actually got 2 bedrooms, really has 2 master suites, plus a loft area and a 2-car garage. Beautiful home on 2436 Mead Avenue, a gorgeous rancher with a big 1-car garage. Another gorgeous home that's a gardener's delight at 4870 Balsam Street, priced at $519,999. Amazing walkout basement, perfect condition. Another great rancher that is perfect for the downsizer in Briargate, priced at $399,999. 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 2 car. Another place down in Pueblo on Gold King has a VA assumable loan. Now, what does that mean? Richard, did you know that anybody could assume a low interest VA loan? Did you know that? You don't have to be a veteran?
I had no idea. I assumed you had to be a veteran to do that.
No, you absolutely don't. And then we've got many more properties. So we have a couple of great homes, one on Stone Creek Road in Creekside, School District 20. Another one, this one's like an amazing hobby farm property, gorgeous custom ranch with a detached auxiliary living unit, plus at least 11 car spaces and over 80 acres. So it's a perfect hobby farm with 2 barns. And then we have a beautiful estate up in 2754 County Road 421 in Florissant, priced at $2.15 million with a spectacular detached RV garage. So if you are thinking of making a move, you want to find out about all of our coming soon homes, because there's more of those, go to barbhasthebuyers.com and click on featured properties. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, give Barb a call, 719-301-3900. Remember, if you weren't able to listen to the entire program, it is always available as a podcast. Or check out Barb at barbhasthebuyers.com. That does it for this week. Barb, have a great week. It was great talking with you. Look forward to doing it again soon.
Pleasure. I can't wait. And thank you. Have a great weekend.
There you go. All right. Okay, here we are. So what are you thinking here, Barbara? Buy before you sell, stress-free way to move. Real reason your house didn't sell, not what you think. How to get the highest price for your Colorado home. No guessing or overpricing. Biggest mistake that buyers with a house to sell make to avoid, what the biggest mistakes they make and how to avoid them. What are you thinking, Barb?
I like the first one.
Good. Me too. Headphones, well, earbud is out now. I count us down in 3, 2, 1. Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, airs every Saturday from 11 until noon, right after Cudlow, here on 740 KVOR. This weekend, Barb will be talking about how to buy before you sell and a stress-free way to do that. You know, I'll tell you one thing I do like, and maybe you've always done it, or maybe I'm just noticing it a little bit more, but you talk about stress a lot, and especially how to reduce it or prevent it or, limit it or whatever. And I just think that's great because sometimes I know myself or talking to friends or relatives or whatever, just talking about selling almost gets people nervous. What do they say? The biggest things in life are a death and moving and selling or whatever.
Yeah. One of my clients told me this morning, she heard that moving takes like 7 years off your life.
Whoa.
I'm like, oh, that's sad. That's what we
Probably.
sell.
Yeah, for me, especially trying to go through all this stuff, it is amazing. People in the military do have one benefit, and that is you guys have to keep moving and moving and moving. So you can't really accumulate as much stuff as you can if you've been in one home for 20, 25 years.
That's true. That is a true story.
All
Well,
right, I'll
it's
let you
so
go, Barb.
good to see you again.
Great to
Sounds
see
like you're
you as
feeling
well.
better too.
I am, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. Actually, I think I'm taking a bunch of different medicine and stuff. And I think the biggest problem was just that I took it on an empty stomach and I will not make that mistake again. Plus, there's some stuff called Zofran, which you put under your tongue and it helps knock it out. So should be good to go. We will talk to you soon.
Thanks, Richard. Have a good week. All
Yep.
right. Bye-bye.